to everyone. So thank you very much for joining in time to all of you. We would like to start now. And while we're having the session ongoing, I believe we'll have others also join us. We got good response from our corporates who has pledged for joining this gender inclusive sourcing initiative with us. And we also have got interest from a few others. So I believe since it's a working day, might be fewer yet to join, but I do believe we'll be getting our other colleagues from the corporate sector joining us pretty soon. So first of all, a sincere thanks to all of you for making your time and joining us in time. This is a very important roundtable. The reason is we do believe this gender inclusive sourcing, this particular initiative is very important for a country like Bangladesh, where around the male-female ratio, the gender is quite balanced. So it's around 49 to 51%. So as everyone in the country believes, or a thoughtful group is still are very active here, that if we cannot take along our women progressing in the similar way that the men are progressing, then the country from the macroeconomic aspect will not proceed as far as the country has that potentiality to go forward. So that is one of the core objective, looking into the overall aspect where we would like to go. And we are thankful to a total of 30 reputed corporates have signed the pledge letter with us. It means they pledged to give women and businesses fair opportunity in terms of getting work opportunity with these corporates. All of them have kind of their regular procurement ongoing. So all of them have pledged that they will ensure that the women and businesses, those who are there, they will get fair opportunity in their respective corporates. So it's a very important pledge, and we do believe this agenda is from the corporate top management. And this is very important that we do discuss, we learn from each other, because every corporate has its own way of doing things in the right direction, doing things much better than the others. So the whole objective of this roundtable is to learn from each other. Since gender inclusive sourcing as a concept is not, I won't say it's very well practiced or it's very widely practiced in Bangladesh yet, but people are aware of this philosophy. They would like to, embrace this concept, try to include or install this into their corporate culture. So from the willingness and the intent side, it's all there. Now, we just want to have the right understanding. We just want to have the right things in the right place so that this can be a part of our corporate culture. That is why we have invited today two of our international corporates. We have Marriott International and we have IBM Corporations. They will be our research organization today. They will share their perspective in terms of how, since they have been practicing this gender inclusive sourcing in their organizations for a long time, and one of those few corporates who are actually championing here. So we do believe that the challenges that they also went through in the initial days and how they overcame all those challenges and how are they making their best practices, what are the things that's giving them the benefit, and more importantly, what is the core reasons why as a business institute they are also trying to get this supply diversity in place. So we believe that probably our local corporates who are doing great stuff in Bangladesh, and few of you are also beyond the borders. Probably we can have this knowledge exchange. We can learn from each other. And after we hear from Marriott International and IBM Corporations, we'll have our open roundtable sessions. So that will probably help us to take it forward properly. So that's where just I would like to let all of you know how we will take this roundtable forward. That's how we are thinking. We have Tashmin Laila, a technical consultant from World Bank, joined us. We have Michael Topolsky, our Supply Diversity and Initiative expert in WeConnect International, joined us. We also have Varani Dharan, who will be speaking about the best practices of Marriott International. We have Ray from IBM Corporations to share us the best practices from IBM Corporation. So we also have, all of you are, special persons to us, but I just thought since those who will be speaking, just to introduce them. I would like to now invite Tashmin Laila, Technical Consultant, World Bank. Tashmin Appa, if you can, share your perspective on behalf of World Bank for this audience today. Over to you, Tashmin Appa.
Thank you, Tanvir Bhai. Assalamu everyone. Hi, this is Tashmin Laila from World Bank. I've been with this project from the very beginning, and how exciting is it to be with all of you today. So today we'll be discussing about the best practices for inclusive gender sourcing, a program that we have been working with this for quite a long time now. And I understand that a lot of our local corporates have signed pledge letter with us saying that they will be inclusive when they're going to source. So we want to hear how is it going? If we can help you with anything or the process up to date, we just want to know how is it going and how we can help you further. And of course, IBM and Marriott International, we're very thankful to you guys for coming in and sharing your knowledge about gender inclusive sourcing so that our local corporates can actually learn from you and we can also do our best practice in it. So yeah, I'm really excited for a very interesting session that is coming up today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tashmin Appa. So this will be definitely very helpful for all of us to take the discussion forward today. So yes, so now while we have the platform is set, what we would like to do into this point. So let's go directly to the topic. So when we have our corporates pledged with us for going forward with the gender inclusive sourcing initiative, we always receive the questions like how this is going to benefit. Yes, they do understand that this is going to benefit, but they'd like to listen from other corporates how it's giving direct benefits to the business and also some other challenges. So at this point of time, I would like to request Mr. Varanidharan Ramaswamy, Director of Procurement, Asia Pacific Region, Marriott International. So Varani will be sharing the challenges that Marriott International has been to for this gender inclusive sourcing. And along with that, what were their possible solutions? How did they overcome everything? And what are the opportunities? How the benefits came? So over to you, Varani, if you're listening, can you please let us know the story of Marriott International? We all are excited to listen.
Thank you, Tanvir Ahmed. Thank you so much. Am I audible to you?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you, Tashmin, for your encouraging. And thank you for me connecting, for giving this opportunity. I think it's truly an exciting journey. I'm connected to WeConnect. I'm proud to say that I've been closely working with WeConnect from the year 2013 or 14 onwards in India. And I know when I first started, it was more like a question, what is WeConnect and how does it work? How do I really what it means to me as a kind of organization, what it means to me as a department. So there are a lot of questions which used to come. However, I just made a very short presentation for the benefit of the audience. If you allow me, if you could confirm that I could see my screen. Can you see my screen, Tanvir?
Yep. Yes, it is visible.
Very good. Okay, great. So this is me. My name is Varanidharan Ramaswamy. You can call me as Varani. Okay, I am the Director of Procurement for South Asia business. Particularly, India has about 90 plus hotels. And we have Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, which is part of South Asia market. And I've been recently given a kind of additional responsibility of Asia Pacific. So now just to give a perspective of some of the challenges, what I'm going to cover in this presentation is mainly on the challenges, what we faced when we early stages, when we started the working towards the diversity program. And also what are the steps we have taken and what is the kind of management commitment and what is MIP 42 what is the diversity program status, and also what is the current statistics. So this is a quick, back. If I really reflect back about 10 years before when we started, first thing it started with the awareness. Like first of all, having an understanding of what is We Connect, what is diversity program, how it's going to help, what is the kind of importance of goals, why we have to really work upon, and how it's going to help the industry per se, and also how it's going to help my department per se, and how it's going to help meet our global, commitment. So creating a self-awareness, any organization who is actually driving this, the leader of the organization has to understand completely. Today, even after working for 10 years today, along with We Connect, if someone asks me how much I know, I still say that I'm still learning many things, okay? Because it's been evolving, it's been really improving every day. A lot of things we keep, getting to know, learn, and know from each other. So, and awareness is very, very important for any organization before they pick up and work on this program. Second thing is that misunderstanding. There are many misunderstandings. That is it that we give a kind of special treatment to the women-owned business or diversified supplier in the procurement. Is it ethically right for me as a procurement manager while we are doing a kind of selection process? Or is it that just because of someone is a woman-owned or someone is diverse supplier, do we need to give a kind of immediate kind of contract awarding? Is it really right to do? So I mean, what I'm saying is that when we launch this program, many misunderstandings will come. So I think getting rid of those misunderstanding is another important aspect. And intentions. There are some kind of, when we are dealing with hundreds and thousands of suppliers, the moment they know that, okay, there is a diversity program Marriott is supporting, is the supplier is coming with the right intention? Is, the procurement committee is really treating this as a right intention? And how is that really being taken? And how is that, what kind of value we are showing in the overall organization while we are doing such kind of initiatives? Okay, that's the another big challenge. And also like a right qualification. What happens is that what is the meaning of the diverse supplier? Like who falls under the category of diverse supplier? Whether the supplier just because of the company name is company owner is a woman-owned company owned by women-owned, does it fall under the women-owned supplier and it's part of a diverse supplier, or it requires more number of qualifications? So understanding and getting those questions, clearing those, getting a clarification of all those questions and setting a right goal towards, how much realistically possible, by us as a country, Marriott India as a country, or Marriott particular specific country, what is possibility? So basically for anyone to I personally recommend based on my past experience is that getting answers to these basic, five points, is very important before we really get into the right perspective. So just to give a kind of, clarity, like what steps we have taken. So for example, first we started evaluating the current situation. So when we started this program in 2014 in Marriott, we had about approximately 20 plus Marriott hotels. So what, as a first step we did is that we started evaluating the current supplier database. We started looking at the current supplier database and then taking kind of understanding within the supplier database, how many suppliers are diverse suppliers, how many suppliers are regular suppliers who doesn't fall under the diverse category. And then we identified them. So that something is evaluated, and then we eliminated a lot of questions, like for example, what kind of questions supplier, many questions what supplier has in terms of when they come forward and then submit their certification saying that because of the women-owned company, then we go back and tell them that the shareholding of the women should be above 51%. And we gone back and then educated the suppliers in terms of saying that we eliminated many suppliers from the list, and also we educated suppliers like in terms of not only just having a name is important, and also it's about the involvement of the women entrepreneur in the whole business on day-to-day activities is important. And also we educated them and we started monitoring them in terms of how well they are engaged in the whole process. And someone who is for example today, there are some suppliers who actually moved their shares from men-owned to women-owned, possibly from 49% they have given the share by additional 2-3%, and then they went ahead and then took a WeConnect certification. So it's more like encouraging them to support more of a kind of within the organization, encouraging a higher support to the women-owned, entrepreneur is something is another part. And also like we are encouraging not only the kind of suppliers, but also encouraging the purchasing professionals who are actually in the front line, shortlisting the suppliers, encouraging them to go out and then search for women-owned suppliers who can be part of the whole process, and then enrolling them. So if you look at it, it's a complete cycle. It's more like an ongoing activity. Okay, when we do this whole activity, we see that we could be able to see a kind of results. Today we can proudly say that it's been more than about 8-9 years of association where we are closely working with WeConnect as an organization. And then we see that there are a number of suppliers. You will see in my coming slides, like there are more number of suppliers who are keep enrolling in the Marriott program, where they wanted to be part of the Marriott, and at the same time they are not given something like a special treatment to join the organization. They come with a very aggressive proposal. They come with a kind of very aggressive plan to work with Marriott and then work with Marriott for long-term sustainable way. So just to give a perspective, and beyond all these things, one of the primary requirements for any program to really become very successful is that commitment, management commitment. We have something called MIP 42, which is one of the kind of policy, Marriott International Procurement Policy, where beyond a particular value, a request for proposal must go to the kind of women-owned supplier or any of the diverse supplier like LGBT or disabled suppliers or minority suppliers. It has to go as part of the RFP document, must go to them. So without, in case in the absence of any particular RFP inquiry is not going to any of the diverse supplier, we have to give a kind of declaration why we are unable to source or identify a diverse supplier. And surely in the whole process, diverse supplier today is majority is women-owned is what we are focusing on. So in India particularly, and then we have to give a declaration and commitment why we are unable to do it, and we need to put an action plan on how we can develop that particular category women-owned supplier in the future. So this is something is very helpful in case of any organization wanted to really go ahead. The management commitment is one of the priority, and of course we also have certain online web tools where a supplier can go and register themselves, and they can also more like refer some of the suppliers if any of the women-owned suppliers. And we work with WeConnect extensively across the globe along with some of the other organizations. And like for example, if you look at it, Marriott commitment, like in the we spent in 2019 just before the pandemic, we have spent about around 995 million we have spent with in the inclusive diverse spend. 613 million we have spent only with women entrepreneurs, and of course 6 billion plus spent diverse suppliers has been spent over last 10 years. As of 2019, 6 billion plus has been spent by Marriott globally. Now, of course, these are all some of the specific spend where we when we say this is the on women what we spend LGBT minority return, but a woman is one of the major supplier, and Marriott got some awards in the diversity spent. Now, just to give an example of like in Marriott India, if you look at it, one of the reasons why we could able to get a kind of highest number of women-owned suppliers across Marriott is that just prior to the pandemic, before when we used to have an annual conference meetings, we used to invite the women-owned entrepreneurs, and then they come and present their products, their company to all the purchasing managers. So in that process, what happens that we started creating a kind of education where we educate women entrepreneurs in terms of what are the basic methods of working with the corporates, particularly with Marriott. When is the annual tender process happens, and when the annual tender process happens, we also send those advertisement newspapers to all the organizations, and then they will further update in their respective website. Particularly, it goes to the WeConnect. WeConnect shares this with some of the women entrepreneurs, and on the website they post it. So what happens that by doing this, if you look at it, the growth kind of what we could see a growth is in 2012 we had about less than 100 suppliers. 2013-14 And then slowly we started seeing a growth. In 2016, 147 active suppliers we saw. And 2017, 193. In 2018, this is where actually we have come out with many number of hotels. Today, like in 2014-15, we had approximately 20 plus hotels. Today, across Marriott, India and South Asia, we have 100 plus hotels. This data is particularly about India hotels. So in this today, we have across 100 hotels, we have more than 600 plus suppliers who actually supported during 2020. And however, in 2021, again, the data is getting collected. We see more than about 550 plus suppliers have participated in the whole program. And then in that, of course, there are some suppliers do a business which runs into millions. There are maybe some suppliers who does a business of less volume. But what we do is that we track everyone who does either a small quantity or a large quantity. And then we keep encouraging them to work with us for more number of hotels so that the diverse spend can keep increasing. And however, all these things happens through different categories. We have non-food as a category, domestic food as a category. We have soft beverages as a category and imported food. So these are all some of the categories what I have mentioned here. So these categories is something is extensively used, on these women-owned suppliers, across India market. But we have also identified about more than about 60 plus categories where there is opportunities available for women entrepreneurs to start interacting with the Marriott International and particularly Marriott India to start with. And however, this is a similar program is being used across different markets. This particular sheet, what I'm showing, statistics, what I'm showing is specific to Marriott in India. So that's a quick update. And of course, when I look at it, it's also not just specific to one particular city. It's not that women-owned entrepreneurs are working in one particular market. They work in Bangalore and they also work in Agra. They work in some of the cities like Siliguri or Goa or Coimbatore, small cities also they work. So this is a broader update from the Marriott, and I'm open for any questions now.
Thank you, Varani. Thank you very much for such interesting insights and your insightful presentation. I'm sure this will be very helpful. So for everyone, for the audience, would like to request, I'm sure you'll be having questions, so would like to request you to note the questions. We'll come back to the questions after the presentation from IBM Corporation. So we can then take all your questions and our resource persons can take your questions to respond from their experiences. So request if you can kindly take note of your questions, then it will be helpful. So thank you again, Varani. We will be coming back with the questions after the presentation from Ray on IBM Corporation. So I'd like to request.
Did I take extra time? Possibly. Hope I didn't take extra time.
Sorry, Varani. Can you please come again?
Hope I didn't take extra.
No.
Take any extra.
No. You were very much on time, actually. You helped us to manage time a little better because we had to start 5 minutes later because we were waiting for others. But you just made it just dot on time. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Very precise.
Thank you, Barney. And that was very, very helpful, especially the strategies that you showed us, that you do conferences with the women entrepreneurs and how you guys register them on your website. That was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so would like to go to IBM Corporation. We have Ms. Kirini Ray with us, Supplier Diversity Program Manager for Asia Pacific, IBM Corporation. Ray, if you are listening, can you please, this is to invite you to share the experience from IBM Corporation. And apologies if my pronunciation with your name is not right. I'm afraid so.
No worries. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for where you are. I'm sharing screen, a little bit introduction of myself. This is Ray from IBM. I'm a part of the global team responsible for Supplier Diversity Program. And I'm responsible for Asia Pacific starting from 2015. Yeah. I'm happy to have the opportunity to share best practice of gender inclusive sourcing with everyone here. for the best practice we have done, the challenge we have met, and how we resolve that and making it better and better. I'd love to start my speech with a thought from an ancient Chinese philosopher named Mencius. He wrote an article about war, mentioning inside that there are three important elements for one to win a war, which is the time, place, and people. So if we consider the situation here we have in Bangladesh, that everyone's so committed to start considering gender inclusive sourcing in your procurement process, I think you already have the right time, because diversity development just started in Asia Pacific. There's a lot space to explore, a lot to try, and a lot to accomplish. And you also have the right place, because the land of Asia Pacific itself is with very vivid, colorful culture and with very open mind. And the third is you have the right people. We have the right people here that is committed to do some change. And we also need to find the right team to do that together with us. I'm going to move on to my next slide, the story of IBM supply diversity journey. Many of you probably have seen that before, especially the Weekend International team, because I always show this chart when I introduce our program. However, this time I'm going to do that differently by going deep into that. For everyone here to think about at this time that you are going to start gender inclusive sourcing, what are the practice you can do and what are the challenges we have met and you probably are going to meet, and what we can do to resolve that. And actually I have marked, I have do a lot of notes on my slides. If you see that on my camera, hard to read. And let's just start. So in the 1968, IBM created our supply diversity program in the US by establishing a facility for the people of color. And after that, our CEO make a step forward to decide to buy from the people of color. So that's the transit from, I can't say transit, but more inclusive, from workforce diversity to procurement supply chain diversity. That is, we buy from the business that are more than 50% owned, managed, and controlled by diverse people. And this actually is not only something that we need to know about the definition, it's also the definition we need our suppliers to know, our sourcing team to know, and our clients to know. Because sometimes if we said supply diversity, what they think is our company employs and women, minorities with disabilities, pattern. In the year of 1970, we see the need of certifying diverse suppliers, and IBM is one of the founding members of National Minority Supply Development Council, in short MNSDC. So this is actually addressing to one of the challenges that many corporations will meet at the beginning, that is where we can find diverse suppliers. Did we just go out into the market and do a very general fishing and say, who are your diverse suppliers? And that would be a lot of time required behind. And this time, the supply diversity advocating NGOs are really very good partners. And then SDC, We Connect are very good organizations that can identify, certify women-owned business, and that including diverse suppliers for us. And in the year of 1980, IBM had our first $100 million spent with diverse suppliers. And the keywords I want to highlight here is about measurement. So if you want to have a sustainable supply diversity program, please measure what you do. This is specifically about goal settings and have a frequent review on that with your team. Take an example of IBM. We set a goal at the end of each year for the upcoming year. This information are collected from the sourcing leadership team and reviewed by the supply diversity program director and the executives, the VPs. And once approved, this measurement or tracked on every month to see whether we have achieved that, or if we beyond that, think about the gap, where the gap is, and make appropriate action plan on that. And actually this one, I linked me to the pledge letter that most of you have signed earlier, that there's a goal among that is to map out the sourcing need with the project team. So once you have set up your target and when you start to think about how you can achieve it, probably the first thing you need to do is to collect the sourcing need, to understand what you want to buy and share that message with the project team. In the year of 1990, that spent almost doubled, actually doubled into 220 million. So that keywords I want to highlight here is about the growth. And one of the methods we are able to keep growing our diverse spend is we frequently shared our purchasing demand with the organizations, such as WeConnect, WeBank, MNSCC. So share with your RFP, RFQ information with them and allow them to find the suitable and competitive diverse suppliers, women-owned business for your demand. In the same year, we are a founding member of WeBank. So let's move on to the next. In the year of 1993, IBM formally include that into our corporate policy letter that IBM Corporation is to provide a diverse business opportunity to participate in all areas of IBM's marketing, procurement, contracting activities. So with that corporate guideline, it will be very clear to every IBMers and embedding that into our daily business. So for your corporations, if you can have something like that, it would be really helpful. And you also have a goal listed in the pledge letter saying that to have the CEO written statement about diversity shared publicly. So that's highly linked to that. Well, when we entered 2000, IBM became the first IT company to join the $1 billion Roundtable, which means if you want to be the members, you have to spend at least $1 billion with the first tier diverse suppliers and worldwide. So that's one of the biggest achievements that we have throughout the timeline. In the year of 2003, the program expanded globally. So outside the US to everywhere IBM operates, that's more than 170 countries. So in every RFP, RFQ we run, regardless of the scope, regardless of the categories, it's for at least one diverse suppliers needs to be invited to the RFP and RFQ. Yeah, so when we expand to outside US, there's also very key activities that we do, which is about the education. So supply diversity is new concept at that time. And we did invest a lot of time to do the educations of supply diversity to our employees, to the sourcing team, and make them aware of the value why we do supply diversity. And actually, this is a not one-time efforts because we have newcomers always, right? So and whenever there's a new member into this team, he or she needs to understand this and practice this on him or her daily basis. In the year of 2009, we became a member of We Connect International, and the keywords I want to highlight here is the partnership. So please do utilize, leverage We Connect supplier base to look for women-owned business for your need. And also, they not only help register or certify women-owned business, they also help train those female leaders, let them understand the need of corporations and help them better respond to the RFP, RFQ. So keep on the frequent communication with the NGOs, let them know your strategy, what you need. It will be helpful for better identifying the capable women business for you. In the year of 2017, IBM spent over $2.5 billion with diverse companies worldwide. That's significant increase throughout the year. I want to mention here is not only we look for new diverse suppliers with our partners like We Connect, we also do a search with our existing suppliers to see whether there are any diverse supplier among them already. So it will be helpful for you to do a check as well. Make them know the definition of diverse business and make them know that they can leverage the diverse identity to collaborate with you in providing better goods and service. And don't forget to actually add that into your supplier onboarding process. Make it a question or just allow your new suppliers to tell you whether they are diverse or not and follow up with them if they are truly like diverse owned. In the year of 2008, we celebrate our program's 50 years anniversary. So it's a time to take a break and celebrate because everyone has been trying so hard in this. We took a video from our CEO at that time, Jenny, and we took a video of multiple diverse suppliers from IBM. We took a video from our VP and program director. We played the video during a town hall meeting we held in the IBM office. That actually we do the town hall meeting every year. That meeting is like only limited to diverse supplier. That's an opportunity we offer to IBM's diverse supplier only to provide them with a platform to communicate with the sourcing management team. They will get a lot of good insight among this and that can help them develop and work out their plan of supporting IBM in the upcoming years or in the short future. In the year of 2020, when everyone stays at home to protect ourselves from and our family from COVID, the strategy, the tragedy of George Floyd has risen much awareness in the US. So a lot of company has restarted to think about what they can do to the Black-owned community. And IBM made our 5 years diversity goal and a lot of initiatives under Embrace to help that. And here I want to highlight the keywords is sustainability, because we have heard many companies mentioning that, okay, now we start to work on supplier diversity. And as the time goes by, we lost their voice. It's kind of like that it's been on hold or somehow they're no longer working on that unless like tragedy like this can draw them back. That's actually is not good. So we do hope that every corporation can have a very sustainable program. And Actually, in the contents that I just shared, there are some tips that you can do are to ensure that your supply diversity development just keep going, such as like have a corporate guideline to be there, like regardless of what change take place in the company, you have that corporate guideline, and to like have the numbers measured and to see whether you're making progress year after year. And also to have a very dedicated team working on the supply diversity and to ensure that you keep communication with the diversity advocating NGOs such as We Connect. And as Arasham keep highlighting to me that I need to share the challenge we meet when we deploy the supply diversity program in AP countries. So in a nutshell, I will only like include two I see. So the first one is where to find a women-owned business. So actually, when we entered this Asia Pacific, it's back to 2003, and the concept is new. No one knows what supply diversity is, and no one knows why we're buying from that. So a lot of efforts has been done in educating, raising the awareness, like Alani just mentioned. And lucky you to have We Connect here, because you already have an organization that has a very strong network of women-owned business. I know that We Connect is having a network of more than 3,000 women-owned business. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you already have a good resource to leverage. So much luckier than we do at that time. So just to leverage that, use that, and keep doing the assessment. The second challenge we meet is how we find competitive diverse suppliers. Probably we're also going to touch that in the next Q&A sessions. So the competitive diverse supplier are there. For one, we need to find them, which is to keep looking for that. And two is they're not yet there, but they can potentially be there. By that, I mean, they can develop into competitive diverse suppliers. There are a lot of stories about IBM's diverse suppliers who didn't win the bid in the first touch. However, they just keep developing themselves, and IBM also helped them, coaching them and help developing them. So after some years, they became competitive diverse owned business. So we need to know that we're not able to get really big accomplishment at the beginning. However, it determines on the time you spend on that, and you're going to have big fruit after a long time cultivating on that. So probably I've shared a lot, I've talked a lot, so want to finalize my sharing at this moment to see if we have any question from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. Again, very insightful, and this journey looks really optimistic. And since 1968, the journey began of supply diversity, and this far you are. And it's again interesting to note that since it's long back, but then again the education to employees and all around within the corporates is still ongoing. And you highlighted, we heard Varani also highlighted on this, that the awareness and education within the employees on this particular supply diversity, or in a simple word, gender inclusive sourcing, is very important. So thank you very much. Now would like to go to the audience, because we have heard from two large corporates, and in terms of how they have been practicing this gender inclusive sourcing, how they're getting the benefits. I'm sure there will be questions, because many of our corporates have the full intent to make this as a practice in the organization, but as it's a new concept, so there are challenges. So this is the question answer session. If I can request any questions from anyone, please feel free. And if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and speak. or you can raise your hand as well, the way you feel comfortable. Any question to Marriott International or IBM Corporation on their practices and the insights that they share?
Yeah, Tariq
Yes.
here. Tariq, if you don't mind. So just
yeah, Tariq, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Please.
Just a question I would like to sort of put forward to Mr. Varani from Marriott is you've had a very sort of a very holistic plan when it comes to looking at diversity as a larger concept than just about the women, of course, seeking supply. Women's supply was one of them, but there were other things that you've added as part of the conversation to sort of entice the entire culture of equality into your organization. But my fundamental question is that, through your sourcing process, by encouraging more, RFPs going to women entrepreneurs, that is one. But what was the biggest challenge that you faced when it came to converting those applications into actual contracts? What is the biggest roadblock that you had to face in the subcontinent, for example? Because in the context of Bangladesh, of course, it might be very similar to India. So that is the one question that I had for Mr. Varani.
So Tariq, if I may understand, this question is for me, am I right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay, so first of all, thank you for that question, Tariq. So it is true that not all women entrepreneurs will actually, get the kind of contract awarded. Okay, so what is the challenges is what happens is that I always keep telling, today, whether we may work today with them or we may not work with them, but what is very important is that in that process, we help them, we educate them, we give them the areas of improvement. Okay, we have a very clear selection parameter of, let's say, if there's a particular supplier for tea as a category we are selecting, we have at least 35 or 40 parameters for selections. So that could be a commercial, could be maybe 5 or 6 parameters. Non-commercial could be about 5-6 parameters. Certification, and also the kind of NVIDIA under audit. Okay. So, but what is the best part is that in the whole process of, let's say there are 30 or 35 parameters, a supplier is supposed to score out of 100. They have to score 85 or 90. If they have scored 70 or they have scored 60, at least we exactly know which are all the areas where the supply partners have not performed well. We go back and then we help them. We give them a very clear feedback so that they can come back in the next year RFP process with a more robust plan. Okay, so one is that, so not necessary but what is very, very important is that when we are doing the engagement process, are we genuinely helping them to grow better, become better for the next RFP? Okay, so roadblocks are many. If you want to hire and work with one of the women entrepreneurs, there could be many roadblocks. Price could be a roadblock. Their quality could be a roadblock. Their manpower could be a challenge. There are no service. But truly, when we give them that kind of feedback, there are a number of suppliers who always shown up back. The next year they won the contract because they got a very genuine feedback, and then they got a very clear kind of indications where they are lacking. They could go back and then improve and then come back. That's what it happens. Did I answer your question, Tariq?
Yeah, I think that is a very because the reason I say this is actually a bit of my background would probably help understand the context of the question. Is that when I was at Ranks Group, I think the first meeting on WeConnect, I was part of Ranks Group, but later on I became a consultant to Ranks Group. And one of the tasks that I was involved with was trying to sort of create these new businesses that is women-driven, because the managing director of our company is actually a woman, and she's a multi-business entrepreneur. So while we were looking for suppliers, we came to a very sort of rude realization is that from the industries that this company used to operate, the suppliers were non-existent. So then the second thought came in is that how can we become a supplier to take contracts? Because that's essentially what we do for major real estate projects and so on. So what we realized is that for that kind of step to be taken, competence is not substitutable. It's something that you have to really build. Get those processes in order so that you can become a viable option for businesses. And that is something that cannot be substituted just because you've got a woman at the helm, or let's say the shareholder is 100% women. So that's the sort of realization that we faced. And another thing is the feedback mechanism is something that we felt is absolutely missing in terms of, for the sourcing process to be complete. One of the biggest things that you can have as a tool is feedback. Why have I lost this contract? Without that, the sort of main source of improvement is missing. And without that, a new entrepreneur who's getting into a business, without that feedback, there's no way for improvement. I think that is one of the things that we miss when it comes to fulfilling that cycle.
See, really, genuinely what happens is that, for example, if I'm doing, let's say if I'm meeting 25 suppliers for one particular category, okay, I have opportunity to select maximum 3 suppliers or 2 suppliers or 3 or 4, okay, at the worst, okay. So it means I'm going to select only 4 and I'm going to reject 20 suppliers, okay. It doesn't mean that those rejections, they are bad. So possibly they are one notch below the other best 4, right? So that feedback, again, the feedback is how many suppliers are coming forward and asking feedback genuinely, and how many suppliers we can actually go out and then reach out to all. Am I capable to reach out to all 20 and spend my time and efforts in giving them a feedback? Possibly no, not every time. It has to be two-way. Am I right? Both have to show your interest. We'll also see then who is showing more of interest to really coming forward. And then at the same time, we'll also show interest to at least. So there are many suppliers who actually came back second year or third year, but they won after third year at least, But that's the way the whole process approach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Interesting question and a very well responded answer, Varani. So, I mean, this is one of the questions we also came across in our, day-to-day interactions with our corporates. Like, say, for example, the mandate, the intent is there from the management, but it's difficult to get the qualified women-owned businesses who can actually meet all the required criteria. So what Varani identified 2 interesting points. One is a kind of a mentoring, going back to the suppliers if they have a shortfall. If they're not meeting one of the few criteria or few other criteria, then if this feedback can be given, their intent is to have them back stronger. So, since we have our corporates here, we'd also request that probably our women-owned businesses are developing. We have seen that they're growing quite strongly, but probably the reality is they might not be still there to match all of your expectations, all of your requirements. But as Ray was also highlighting, that let the fruit grow. So be a bit patient, and if we keep on giving the feedback, and I also totally understand Varani's point, and we'll take this point back to our women SMEs, our women-owned businesses, that the intent has to be from there as well. So they also have to come forward and ask for feedback if the result is positive, if the result is negative, how they can make it even better. So thank you very much. I mean, since this is one of the common questions. Yes, Varani, please.
Anyway, I also wanted to add one more point here. Okay, let's assume that this year we are doing a particular tendering process. There are 4 or 5 women entrepreneurs did not get selected for whatever the reason. Ideally, we need to have that database very separately. Next year, we should invite them again for RFP. Okay, that's very important. Okay, because what happens many a time, we don't look at the past data. We only just go back to the maybe those 3 or 4 or 5 suppliers, but maybe we should not neglect them. We should include them in the next year RFP process, and then we should encourage them to be part of the process. And then maybe it's a good opportunity for them to at least come back and then learn a few more points and then go back. So this whole tendering process or RFP process, possibly they may not get a business, but I'm sure after that exercise of 2 or 3 months of interacting with corporates and then moving and understanding, their confidence will be one step above. Their knowledge will be one step above what it used to be, a couple of months before the participating in the RFP.
Exactly. So well said. I mean, this is again very important. So the window of opportunity should remain open. Even if some women business is not qualified for a particular RFP, as the Marriott example Varani just shared, they kept those who are not qualified or not got selected. They will be given the opportunity next time. And I'm sure if such mentoring happens in this way, then probably the supplier will be, once they're selected, once they're trained, then the loyalty level will be completely different. I can see Michael Tobolsky, our Vice President, Member Development, Reconnect International. Michael, you raised your hand, please.
I'm having some challenges with my video, so I'm going to shut that part off. I want to also say that that's one of the benefits of being part of the We community with the women businesses, because we offer a We Connect Academy training so that we can help get them to the next level in terms of opportunities. So if you can't see them as a fit today, to make sure that they become part of our world. And then the other part too is I just think it's really important in terms of supporting them in terms of connecting with other women businesses, because there are always opportunities to joint ventures. So if there is an opportunity and they're not quite ready capacity wise or whatever, that perhaps they can meet with another woman business and join forces. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. This is very important again. For the corporates, I mean, the database that's developing in We community, this is, I mean, definitely an opportunity which Ray was also highlighting in her presentation, that IBM was not that lucky if compared to nowadays, because they didn't have that kind of access to such a database where they can access women-owned businesses. And nowadays, these women-owned businesses are there. And through our different initiatives, we're also trying to address your pain points, like to train them in the right direction so that they meet the requirements of the corporates and can supply accordingly. So thank you, Michael. If I'd like to hear the IBM part of the story from Ray on this particular point, what happened when you also started, and whether the situation was similar, like was it a challenge to get qualified women in business at the initial days? If yes, then how did you overcome that part from your side?
Yes, thank you. I do want to add a comment on the question, on the just last question about performance feedback, because from our past communication with the suppliers, sometimes they will on hold reaching out to the sourcing buyers, especially when they know that they are not winning the bid, then that's silence. But we need to let the diverse supplier know that they have the right to ask sourcing for improvement, and sourcing can exactly send feedback to them, like you offer the price is a little bit high, or there are some place you need to improvement for the next bid, and then we invite them to the next round and see them grow, and maybe after some years they can win a bill. And we do have a real case, because we see one of the suppliers spend on a supplier dropping. They used to have good performance, but spend dropping. And then we have a call with the supplier to understand why. And we find out that the communication kind of lost, because on the sourcing perspective, we have a lot of supply to manage. We can pay additional focus on diverse suppliers, but we are not going to babysitting everyone. So from the supplier perspective, is there opportunities to reach out to the sourcing and get more information? So the reasons why the spend drop is the block of communication. And then we find out actually this diverse supplier have developed a new business model, and actually they can offer something new that IBM is need for. So the story ends to be a good one, that the connection resumed and they get new opportunities to participate on additional RFP, RFQ. Okay, so end of last question. The story of IBM. So most of you know that IBM is a IT company, and the very high demand we have is in technical outsourcing resource. Those talented people working on the project, we need them, and we need them with the most popular and hot skills in the market. So it's really a very big challenge for us to meet qualified, diverse suppliers in the market to fulfill this need. And actually, what we do is we develop them instead. So I have some real case over the world. I have case in US, I have case in Europe, and I also have case in India in terms of technical subcontracting suppliers. They starting from very small office. They start from IBM sub-tier suppliers. You know that we work with our first-tier suppliers to involve diverse supply as IBM sub-tier supplier. So they start from like 2 people. They start from 5 people. They start from a really small office. However, they get to know the business, they get to know what IBM needs by being a sub-tier. And as time goes, they developing the office and to a big one, they train their resources, train their people to get the competitive resources, and they get expanded to other cities or even other countries, and then they grow into IBM's first-tier supplier. And even core suppliers. And like in the peak time, one example is that a tier supply in India starting from 5 people grow into a company of like more than 400 people that fulfilling IBM's project. So this is real successful stories we have with diverse suppliers. But I want to highlight here is that as a corporation, we can't just sit here and wait diverse suppliers to come. We need to invest time to develop them into what we want. If you see that they have potential, like capability of growing. So that's also a long-term relationship managed that every corporation look forward with its suppliers.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, quite insightful. So very good to hear that your continuous work on also to promote these sub-tier suppliers to your direct supplier. So I'm sure these are insightful for many of us. Any other questions from the audience to IBM or Marriott?
Hi.
Yes, Amir Bhai, please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, my question is rather a little strange, but I'm sure you have faced this, especially in IBM and Marriott both, and I'm sure in other corporates as well. Recently, we have been engaging with a lot of women suppliers. We have been trying to, accommodate within our business. So we have found out that in some cases, there are women entrepreneurs for whom we can instead become a supplier. So that's the other way around. So that's another way of business, but that's very interesting. So I'm sure you have had such experiences, and does it count as a successful initiation in the We Connect program? I mean, how does it count?
All right. So what you're saying, I mean, if I can understand you properly, while you're in search for right women-owned businesses, you found other women-owned businesses stronger enough to let you in as a supplier, right? And whether
yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like it was not that we are looking for a customer, but there's another way of getting them help to progress in their business, so that
exactly.
We can offer them our things at a more reasonable prices, and we consider it a kind of a CSR activity so that they can buy it from us and keep it as a stepping stone and move forward. So that way, maybe because as I've mentioned you that we are in the garment textile, so the suppliers that we are meeting, in most cases, it's very difficult to find the right suppliers, because our things that we buy, those are very big volume programs and things that generally we don't see many women get into. But in some cases, we see that, okay, this is the other way we can help them out, especially since we manufacture fabrics and clothes and textiles. So we realize that, in fact, they can be benefited in this way rather than from the front side. Rather, we can help them from the supply chain side. So this is the other way I think we could contribute.
Now, yeah, somehow the line was interrupted in between, so I couldn't hear you clearly. So my apologies for that. So, if Michael get that point or Roshan get that point, otherwise I'll request Amir Bhai to briefly come back. What is the specific issue, if you can? Sorry, my network is somehow is a bit sticky for us.
So Amir, what I understand is, if I understand, like you are supplying your product to some of the women entrepreneurs who buy from you and then use it as a trading mechanism to manage their livelihood, or they earn money, am I right? So they become your customer. Is it right?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not that we've been looking for customers in that section, but when we were in a discussion, they looked into our products and said that, okay, is it possible for us to purchase from you? So we said, okay, yeah, if it helps you in your business, then you can of course go ahead. I mean, it's not that we have to depend on them, but of course we'll be happy if it helps them move forward and grow their business.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a good support. I think it's a good CSR activity. It's surely you are supporting or no, you are actually encouraging women to do a business. But I'm sure I leave it to Michael to answer whether it is because it's more like currently in this program, what we are focusing more towards is as a corporates, how do we engage the women entrepreneurs in our supply chain, in the procurement or the supply chain. What we are doing is the back end, in the front end of the supply chain, in the distribution. Still, if you are using somebody in your transportation, in your logistics, in your packing or courier, that's fine. Surely they become more like a vendor to you. But if somebody is buying a material from you and then selling it, they are more like your customers, So they are more like their business. They are giving you business. They are giving you revenue. Thus, in this case, we give them a revenue, right? So I think it's something I leave it to Michael to respond. Michael, over to you.
Thank you. And I think it's great that what you're doing. I would say that it is a separate effort and separate from supplier diversity and inclusion, but I would certainly keep track of it and mention it if you do any external reporting and share success stories of how you've helped these women businesses, in terms of getting better pricing or support from your organization. So I think that is something that is important, but it is separate from supplier diversity.
I'm happy actually this get highlighted because like you're actually enabling women-owned business to be stronger. So this is definitely a good story.
Yeah, so I just want to share this rather than from the front end, it's being done from the back end. I mean, at least, nevertheless, we're doing the least we could do.
No, I think it's good. I think you must continue supporting that because I'm sure they are going out and then supplying to some of the corporates or some of the individuals. Ideally, if those corporates come and report, they become their suppliers, right? So whatever you're doing, you must continue, keep doing it. It's a great effort. I think only it's just about a kind of, the focus is what we are doing here in this session is slightly different from that. As Michael said, it's a great effort. I think you should continue doing and then keep reporting it. That'll help.
Amir Bhai, this is Tashmin Laila from World Bank. Just a little question on this. So the suppliers that you're finding from these women entrepreneurs, so are they from the WeConnect supplier directory or are they random women-owned businesses that you're working with?
Oh, we are working with both.
Is it from our program? Okay.
Yes, it is mostly from your program. I mean, and the ones who are not in your program, I already shared because in our industry, we buy yarn, fabrics, chemicals. Mostly it's coming from other countries. And even if it's Bangladesh, I mean, the owners are big spinning mills, fabric mills. So it's difficult to find really women-owned businesses. I mean, of course, there are women shareholders maybe in the businesses. But what we really understand, like women-owned businesses, I mean, who are running the shows, generally they are much smaller, I mean, with due respect because of their business size. And at the same time, since we are exporters of clothes and fabrics, and so for us, it's very important that whatever we buy, we have to purchase the right thing for the right customers, the right prices. And we do have a lot of leftovers and, stocks and all these things. So when we discuss with these women entrepreneurs, we find out that, okay, instead of selling those stocks outside somewhere else, if we can help them out because we sell it at a cheaper price, if they can buy it from us, then that helps grow their own businesses. So that's, I mean, completely different rather than supplying from them. Rather than we are actually helping them to make their, what should I say, cost.
Middleman.
Yeah, I mean, we're helping them to, reduce their costs so that that will somehow help them grow their businesses. So that was definitely not a part of the plan, but it has happened. So that's why I realized. So I mean, it is pretty good. I mean, maybe it will not count in the program, but in the WeConnect program, but somewhere or the other, they're getting benefit directly.
Definitely, we'll follow up on the story with you as well. It's very interesting, very innovative.
Yeah, thank you, Arvind. Now it's very clear to me. And as everyone said, this is really a good initiative. Please keep on doing that. And we'll be happy to note how this has been going. So might not be directly related to our core part, but then again, it's a gender mainstreaming initiative. So your effort is helping a woman in business in terms of making his costing more efficient, producing things in a better cost so that she can earn more profit. So we'll be happy to have more updates on that. And as we all know that all of our corporates, and Neat Asia is also one of the pioneers in terms of trying to support women in business as much as you can. So thank you, Amir Bhai, for raising this point, and also an interesting update. We'll be definitely speaking on this later on. So so for the interest of time, we'll go to the next segment, but we can take one more question if any of you have the last question for IBM or Marriott International. Ray or Varani is still here. Okay, so if there is no question, I just want to ask one last question from my side to both of you, Varani and Ray, because this is also something we came across when we have the one-on-one offline discussions with our corporates. For example, both of you have mentioned that you are actually investing a lot in terms of your resources to develop diverse suppliers or develop women businesses as your suppliers. A few efforts they're trying. You are doing kind of you're giving feedback. You are giving them opportunity. You are trying to let them grow as your supplier. So this is whole and as Ray mentioned that to bring a sub-tier supplier to a direct supplier, I'm sure similar efforts are there in Marriott as well. So I mean, how the result has been? I mean, is it rewarding enough? The question I'm asking is like, you have been giving, a good effort behind this development of women-owned suppliers. So if you can highlight briefly, what is the result or the reward is whether it's rewarding enough?
Would you like to talk first, Varani?
Yeah, Ray, you can start, please.
Ray, please go ahead.
Okay, I know I didn't share a lot of numbers during the presentations. We have good results in terms of supply diversity, but not perfect yet. We are committed to involve diverse business in our supply chain. And when we're working on the target for next year, the bottom line is flat. We're not dropping. We keep increase year to year, regardless of what happened within the company. Like we sell the ThinkPad. Like recently, we acquired Red Hat. So whatever change took place within the corporations, our commitment to supply diversity just keep growing. I recall a message from my boss, who is the program director. He always said that we can never step into the rabbit hole twice. So just like he mentioned, the supply diversity program in IBM just keep growing. We measure the result in terms of first tier and also second tier. We measure the result in terms of dollar, and we also measure that in terms of percentage. So just for your reference, probably you might to work out the metrics that's more suitable for your corporations. And we also did not give exceptions regardless of the countries or the categories. And probably at the beginning stage, you want to focus on some of the categories that you have expand and to set from working on that. So we keep involving diverse supplier. The number of diverse suppliers keeps growing. I can't share the exact numbers, but I promise it's going, especially in terms of women-owned business. They're really, really competitive in the market, and they have a lot of advantage. They're more resilient, they are innovative, forward thinking, and they have empathy on that. Yeah, so just to keep going with the open door policy and
right, thank you.
More diverse supplier.
Thank you, Ray. Actually, the question was not meant to be for the number of women suppliers growing, but it was more like the last portion that you just attended, like, how are they responding in terms of supplying according to your requirement, in terms of quality, in terms of loyalty as a supplier. So as you said, so you are getting good results from those whom you have been investing your time and resources to develop.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Varani, over to you for the same question, if you can highlight briefly.
Thank you, Tanvi. Thank you, Ray. That's a great insight. So if I explain this, we surely believe it's growing very well. If you look at the map, if you remember the presentation, what I showed about, we had about less than 100 suppliers when we started in 2013. Today, we have 600 plus suppliers. That very clearly shows the growth pattern. And it is because of, one is that the existing supplier, also like some of the women entrepreneurs bring new women entrepreneurs and then they introduce, the reference program also happens. Okay, number one. Number two, also when we open a new hotels, we do look for the kind of supply partners. So it happens in two ways. One is that naturally there are some women entrepreneurs who are very good in certain categories. They come forward and then we have a kind of directly opportunity to work with them. But surely the other side also, we also keep developing and then working with them, growing them. Okay? Like for example, we do have a mechanism of measuring our quarterly spend with every woman entrepreneur, how much we are spending with them, So for example, if I very clearly say that, for example, in India alone, like we spent in Q1 of 2021, we spent about $700,000, whereas in Q2, because of the pandemic, when the business have gone down, we spent about $400,000. And again, in Q3, the business picked up, we spent about $850,000. So we track exactly how many women entrepreneurs we are working with in a particular month and what is the value we work with them. And that reports from each hotel gets reported to the country level. At every country level, that number gets accumulated and goes to the kind of regional level. From regional, it goes to the corporate level. So we work in such a kind of close depth. But surely there are few suppliers, there's a more volume, few suppliers, there's a less volume. But overall, we look at the kind of whether the growth is happening. That is what is the parameter we keep looking at it. And number of suppliers and surely value of business is continue to be a kind of target, and that's the very clear growth what we see. But surely it requires the efforts. It requires the efforts of attracting, retaining, the women entrepreneurs who we are working with.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very well answered. So thank you very much, Varani and Ray, both, for sharing the insights. I mean, I wish we had more time and we could keep on learning. So these are quite insightful. So for the interest of the time, we are concluding this question answer segment now. And I'm already over time a bit. So I'd like to request Michael Topolsky, our Vice President of Member Development, Reconnect International. Michael, would you like to take the next level of discussions for the roundtable, please?
Yes, thank you, Tanvir. And first, I'd like to commend all of you for being committed to this work of gender inclusive sourcing, and especially IBM and Marriott. During the COVID times, you can imagine that it was very challenging, especially within the travel and hospitality industry, and yet the culture of Marriott and IBM continue to be supportive of this work. So it wasn't just something of how can we cut costs, what do we need to focus on? This is really a commitment from the top level of the organization. So I just wanted to emphasize how important it is to have senior leadership support and be really clear on the business case and why it makes sense in terms of your organization. So thank you to everyone on the call. I'd like to then in this session just open it up to discussions, and if some of those that have shared the pledge letter signatures, that you can talk about some of the challenges or successes that you've had so far and answer any questions that you might have. For those of you that are not aware, I worked with all of the members around the world in terms of best practice sharing. So if I don't have an answer, I know where to find one. So I just wanted to be a resource to all of you as you continue in this work. So open it up if someone would like to start sharing in terms of what you've gone through so far in your progress.
Should I go ahead then?
Please.
Thank you very much. So just a brief update about how we're dealing with. And one of the last initiatives that we had was the Meet the Buyer session. So that was a very effective one, because once we had the database, that was great by its own, definitely. But actually meeting the people face to face, meeting the women-owned businesses face to face, gets us into a further category as well. I mean, it's a more on an interaction basis. And of course, in the future, once the restrictions are a little bit more lifted and then, things are already going a little bit more normal, definitely. So if we have physical sessions, physically meeting the women-owned businesses face-to-face, because within a Zoom call, we tend to have a limited amount of time because with the breakout rooms and everything. But if we have a face-to-face interaction, that definitely would be much more better. And so that was it. And overall, it's great to meet the women-owned businesses, definitely. And we have been contacted by 2 of them. So one was from the food sector. I mean, the women-owned business was selling pickles, for example. And another one was from the IT sector. For example, in case of the IT sector, we've already forwarded the email to our department, our IT department, whether there are possibilities. So there was an initial conversation that was going on. I think might be a little bit on a hold right now, but it's at least an interaction has been made. In case of the food sector, for that matter, since our business is once again its core garments, textiles, RMG textiles, so that's still there. And the way we interacted, I think we shared this in our previous sessions as well, since we have a variety of sustainability initiatives, particularly our Fair Price Shop. So we tagged that women-owned business with our Fair Price Shop. So whether her products can be made available within our Fair Price shops. So it's so fully homemade products. So that's great, but our Fair Price Shop will have diversity of its own as well. So, and I believe that currently she may be out of town, so there's a little bit of a slowdown with the interaction, but it's step by step that's going on. Like Amir sir has stated that both of us are within the same categories, because if you're talking about direct suppliers of raw materials, that becomes challenging for our particular product right now. But the way forward, if we say that how can it be better in the future, if these sort of initiatives come in support of our buyers as well. And so if buyers themselves have their own agenda that they will be having women-owned suppliers, so that gives an opportunity to develop in general. So for us, for our sector, there's no problem. It's indifferent. I mean, if the raw materials that are coming in, if the owners, for example, were procuring chemicals from, for example, Huntsman. So if the owner of Huntsman, whether it be the local office, whether it be the global office, if it's a woman-owned business, there's absolutely no problem. The challenge comes in because when we're talking about the small and medium enterprises, we can include within our sustainability initiatives, our Fair Price Shop, or we can have a Fair Price Shop within our own offices as well. So the basic point kind of revolves around the Fair Price Shop. And there's also another thing just wanted to share. So relating to training of suppliers, yeah, definitely that's one of the things that we came to know from IBM and Marriott as well. So although we did not have a supplier focused session yet, but that's one of the things that we do have in plan. Maybe early next year or within next year, we do have to have a supplier engagement program, so to say, with our existing suppliers. But it does not have to be just our existing suppliers where women-owned businesses can participate as well. It's just to understand that what is the procedure, because that would be in some sort of a training as well, more like an orientation. So the different businesses understand that what are we doing currently, or what is our style of businesses, etc. And then we can expand upon it as well. So one step at a time. So for example, relating to IBM, we've seen the timeline. That's really great to say that it's over 50 years they've been running the particular program. But what we do understand, it's like an evolutionary process rather than it's happening very, very, very quickly. So, but this will be improving. One particular observation, if I may state, is that it's good to see that after the Meet the Buyer session, there were companies that contacted us, but it's very less. And basically, if I say just 2 of them. So if that particular drive comes in, I mean, there was a particular program with North-South University, if I'm not mistaken, so by which the women-owned businesses themselves were trained. So if we can have a further training, or if they can have a further training, how to pursue with a product. So that can be much more effective for the particular program. So just wanted to share that. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mashur Bhai. I have a question. So
yes,
basically,
please.
after the Meet the Buyer session, did you guys release any tender so far? Like, did you
No,
have
we did
any
not release any
procurement?
tenders because it also gets to see that what sort of products availability that is there. So the releasing of tender would be possible once we have a proper understanding of, the more interactions that we have, we tend to understand what the market is, what the products are, and accordingly we can release tenders and everything. So because if you talk about raw materials and etc., that is very challenging right now. But if, for the sake of it, if it's a woman-owned business, if it's an SME, but fulfilling all the requirements that are the international standard requirements, of course, this takes it further as well. Because I'm just stating that now, for example, we have export-oriented garments companies and just normal garments companies. The standards of export-oriented companies would be much more higher. So accordingly, the suppliers of the export-oriented companies, they would have to have certain standards as well. But once that is done, there is no problem. Automatically, we can have further businesses, etc. I hope that answers the question.
The reason why I asked,
yes,
the reason why I'm asking this is basically because you already met the women entrepreneurs, right? And they already know your business. So in future, when there is a tender, I'm just they will be confident enough to bid because, they already understand you guys all had a discussion among yourselves. So that's the whole idea. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll keep that as a note as well.
Thank you, Mashur. We have a question from Sharif.
Thank you, Michael. And I'd also like Tashmin especially to listen to my questions. I teach business finance and I really don't know all the intricate or the nitty-gritties of the businesses that Bangladesh is known for now. All on a sudden, we have a great garment industry, we have pharmaceutical industry. What I was thinking is it possible that we could find out from the DBL group, for example, or Nitasia group, or I heard Tarek Abdullah Mamoon also, you have a sense of what kind of businesses could be supported, serviced by women. I cannot really, when I train them, I really don't know all the aspects of the business. If I had known them, I probably could have trained them better. I'm still doing sort of kind of general thing that I know. I do try to read a lot, so I think I know a little bit better than many other people. Still, I don't know nothing. I really don't know enough to tell the women that, hey, look, here, there are businesses for you. And because the garment industry is so huge, it is going to grow for you. I'm going to say the same thing for the pharmaceutical industries. To some extent, I think pharmaceutical industries have attracted some women suppliers, but there are the multinationals. And if I could have a better sense of what the owner's sense is, this is where women will be more successful. This is where women could be trained to improve. And this is where women are probably not going to meet the standard or requirement, or there are other hurdles. I was wondering if some sort of a little study could be done to accelerate the goals, the objectives we're trying to achieve. So that's the general question I had.
Sharif, in the interest of time, that's a great question. And I think we could maybe do a separate call because we have this experience around the world in terms of the pharmaceutical and textile industries and what they buy, but it's basically everything. Raw materials, operating supplies, safety equipment. So it pretty much covers the whole gambit, and more companies are focusing on technology. AI is going to be coming up. So it's not only what corporations are buying today, but what will they be buying in 5 years from now? So that's one of the areas that we need to all collectively focus on, is getting them ready for that next step. But I just suggested Tanvir maybe and Roshan can set up a separate call that we can have a sidebar on this topic, and we can give you some information on that. But thank you for your question.
Okay.
All right, any other best practices you'd like to share before we get ready to wrap up and go to the next session?
Hello, can I speak?
Please.
So hi, I'm Navid Chaudhary from Ideas Finance Limited. First of all, I'd like to thank Michael, Tanvir and the team for arranging this wonderful event, and the representatives from Marriott and IBM for sharing their valuable insights. Ideas and WeConnect have been working together for quite a while now. We have signed our pledge letter this July 2021. And since then, we have had the opportunity to connect with the women entrepreneurs through a networking event. And our experience from that event has certainly exceeded our initial expectations. Our administration department is currently working with 4 entrepreneurs to include them among our list of vendors. And we are confident that we will be able to onboard them soon. And apart from working together to empower women entrepreneurs through connecting them with large corporations, within the short period of time, WeConnect and IDLC have already identified another meaningful ways through which we can hopefully contribute towards the financial inclusion of these entrepreneurs. I think many of you would be glad to know that after the networking event organized last October, IDLC, with the assistance of WeConnect, has already reached out to entrepreneurs present in the event to see if they have any financing need that IDLC can fulfill. And we are already working with 2 entrepreneurs to provide them with a financing facility that fulfills their personalized requirements. One suggestion from our end would be to bring more entrepreneurs under this program. For instance, who have specialized, say, on architectural firms. We need some vendors who can do our interior designing, and at the same time, a supplier of hardware and stationery items. This will help our admin team to place recurring orders. And another noteworthy point that I want to mention is that the entrepreneurs WeConnect represents are all experts of their field, and the average year of experience that we face is around 5 years. So they're all reliable partners to work with, and I, on behalf of Ideas Finance Limited, would like to request the representatives of the non-pledged organizations to actively consider to sign in and join us in this wonderful journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Navid. Okay, I think we have time for one more update from one of our pledge signers. Any progress, challenges, success, etc.
Hi, I would like to share my, it's rather a comment rather than progress. This time, I'm very happy to see the progress in the women entrepreneurs when we met, because they are much more better prepared. I just wanted to say this because it is in the right direction. And the training session that they've been going through in NSU under the leadership of Mr. Sharif Ahkam, and the way these entrepreneurs pitch their whatever product they're selling and everything, it was very, very good. I wish it were physically done rather than online. It could have brought much better results. So I just wanted to share this that it was very, very helpful, and it was very good, and I'm sure a good result will come out very soon. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Amir. Okay, Tanvir, are you okay if we move forward to the last session?
Yes, Michael, definitely, as you feel it's good. But if anyone else would like to highlight any pledge progress after these 2?
Tanvir, is it okay if I...
Yes, who is this? Yeah. Tariq Bhai? Can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, someone else was willing to was looking to ask a question or a point.
Yeah,
forward
for
point.
For the interest of time, we'll just we can take only one now.
Yeah.
If you have an update on your pledged goals,
yeah,
from the corporates, those who have pledged. Anyone?
So.
Yeah, Tariq Bhai, if you have.
Just a quick update. I won't take very long. So basically, the challenge that we had, if you remember, during that time, is that we did not have enough products in our portfolio that would encourage women suppliers. So that was one of the limitations of Rank Group during that time. So what we decided since then is to increase our portfolio line of products that can sort of create an avenue for women entrepreneurs to join in the sort of journey. So one of the things that we did was we opened a logistics company, which is essentially almost 80% female owned under the Ranks umbrella. And that's something that it will be unique to the industry because there is no such entity of that nature. And as part of that, that allows us to sort of, through our smart tracking and IT infrastructure, bring on board some of the SME entrepreneurs who've actually taken one or two small vehicles from us in the past to sort of onboard them into the logistics industry. So that creates a sort of a network of prospective future female entrepreneurs coming into the logistics business as well. So that's something that we started just this year. So that's something we're looking forward to. And the second thing what we've done also is, given that there was a heavy focus of Ranks as a sort of construction and real estate pioneer, so we started another sort of business that is completely 100% female owned, which is an interior company, interestingly, where we are basically trying to utilize our sourcing methods in that area to see what kind of female, because there are many female entrepreneurs who do produce interior design, furniture, materials, and so on. So that provides an interesting avenue for us to source suppliers focused on women. So those are the two initiatives we formed because there were limitations of the group in terms of sourcing from women suppliers because of the nature of the business it was doing. So that's the update from our end.
Thank you. Thank you very much. For the interest of time, we'll definitely catch up later and we'll learn more. Sorry, Michael, it took a bit of time. Over to you, please.
Great, thank you. And just to kind of recap where to start and how to progress gender inclusive sourcing efforts, it's really about having support from the senior leadership. You've all demonstrated that you are committed within the organization. It has to make sense from a business case standpoint and tie to the bottom line. Whether it's your clients are asking for this, whether you find that you can build your business and brand by including women. Many companies have a policy, for example, on HR diversity and inclusion, but don't include the supply chain. So it's also always important to make sure that all dimensions are covered. And it even ties into recruiting and retention. Professionals today want to work for companies that are really on the forefront of sustainability and diversity and inclusion. So that's just another element that makes sense. But once you start this journey, you've done a lot of work already identifying women businesses in your supply chain and seeing if there's opportunities for them to grow, reaching out to other women businesses that could be potential suppliers. We discussed that already. So that's also important. Setting goals. I think one of the key elements too that we really didn't talk about is tracking and measurement. Once you have goals established, whether they're internal or as well as external, and some companies, by the way, say that we're going to set a goal. We don't know where we're at, but we're going to double wherever we are by a certain year. I think it helps galvanize the organization to say, now we're all committed at some level, and then everybody can work towards that objective. But the tracking and measurement is really critical. You can tell that Marriott and IBM have really thorough processes in place to track and measure what's going on and track progress and be successful and recognize those successes. So I think that's also incredibly important. I think one of the key things I wanted to share with you just real quick before we wrap up is we developed this gold standard checklist I'm going to share on my screen. And I'll just ask if Aroshan or Tanvir can share this afterwards. Let me just get that out of there. We put this together actually with IBM, and it's a 100-point checklist that you can use as kind of a guideline to run through all the different components for a successful and sustainable supplier diversity initiative. I'm not going to go through it today because of the interest of time, but you can see we have, is there a business case that's tied in together, and how does this work in terms of the top of the organization? Is it enterprise-wide? This is not just something in procurement. Often, what about legal? What about IT? Sometimes they're not included in the procurement effort, and there's a separate division that manages their purchases or construction, for example. So it's just important to think about it from an overall standpoint. Is there a policy, and is there an executive level champion that can help drive this? I think one of the things for success is also communications. There has to be a process in place that it is communicated not only to existing staff, but to people that are coming in. For example, could it be included in your new hire orientations to say that there's a commitment to gender inclusive sourcing, et cetera? And then we just run down there's all management levels are accountable. In the ideal world, and I'm sure this is true of Marriott and IBM, that their senior leaders have a commitment and it's tied into their performance evaluations. And often it's tied into their bonus calculation, just to give you an idea of how thorough this can go with a mature program. Is there a plan, that includes steps and actions? Is there training programs involved? Are there development plans for your suppliers? Are there formal programs, whether it's mentoring or just training classes, et cetera, that go on to take those women businesses, in our case, that are already successful to the next level? It sounds like a lot has been going on there. There's a section about communications internally, so that everybody is on board throughout the organization. And then there's external communications, and make sure you celebrate your successes and let people know when you do have a success story. For example, with our membership, if you do have success stories, we want to post them on our website because I think in many cases, women businesses need to see their role models out there among others, but also the corporations. It's good for them to understand what everybody's doing as well. And then there's a section here on recruitment. How do you go about? And you heard from IBM and Marriott, they have registration pages on their website. So when you do make that commitment, how do you want them to communicate to you? And it could be as simple as having a form letter saying that we're interested in buying from women businesses. If you're interested and you can meet our requirements and you list your requirements, then fill out this form and send it in to us. Even it could be a supplier diversity at an email address, for example, but just having some way for them to reach back out to you. So, you're just not waiting to reach out to them. And then, events, and again, the tier 2, we didn't talk about today, but this is really, it's not just what you buy, but your entire supply chain. So if you do have large suppliers that are your suppliers, it's really important because if, for example, woman business can't do business directly with you, perhaps they can do business with someone in your supply chain. So there's another dimension. And we do have this on our website. I'm not going to go through because of time, but accountability is also the end of this is very important. And again, we'll share this document with you, but I think this is a great kind of roadmap to check off and look at all the different components and see how they could be included in your business. So I think that's it. Any questions before we wrap up? I know we're a little over time now.
Anyone, any question for Michael or for anyone else in the team, in the audience?
Yeah, and I'm happy to be on future calls if we want to have a more in-depth discussion and some of the other best practice from companies around the world. Happy to share that. Okay, Tanvir, I guess turn it back to you.
All right, Michael, thank you so very much. Your presence is actually adding a lot of values to the discussion. And a special thanks to you because due to the time zone differences, it's pretty early in the morning. So you made out some time for us. We are really thankful from all of us from Bangladesh or this time zone, because it's convenient for us in the afternoon, but for you, it's really late, very early. Thank you all very much for giving us your precious time today. If you think that this kind of initiative is helpful, then would appreciate your feedback. In the chat box, I posted a link. If you can kindly click there and spend 1 minute of your time, maximum 2 minutes. So we'll be happy to have your feedback. This will only help us to make the future such initiative or our ongoing initiative stronger and more effective. So feedback is always precious to us. So I'll request each and everyone, if you can do it quickly, this will be very helpful. I'd like to thank you all again. Since there is no other questions, we have covered all the segments. We also try to answer a few of the questions that we generally do discuss offline. Just to highlight one last point, there was one common question when we started this phase of the journey back in June, July. Then one of the questions that we got from our colleagues in the corporate that even if we want, where can I get the women-owned businesses? Where is the database, or where is that particular platform where I can access that? So as you know that we have started working on that, and we already shared a kind of a directory where you have a set of trained women-owned SMEs, women-owned businesses of Bangladesh. We believe they're ready to be your supplier, but not everyone will be totally ready. But with your little support, I'm sure many of them can be your future potential suppliers. So our request is there. That solution, based on your request, we are working, and this particular directory will be growing every month, and we'll be sharing you the updated version soon as well. So our request, as a few of you already mentioned, that we had one Meet the Buyer sessions end of October after the graduation ceremony. We had 5 of our corporates join there, and a few of you mentioned that discussions is ongoing with the potential suppliers. So we hope that goes in a good direction, and you would also request you to check the other suppliers. If and your procurement department can take a look at that, I'm sure there can be possible interactions can start happening, and we can go into some interesting business leads. So we are very much look forward to that. And another point also raised that in terms of development of women-owned SMEs or women-owned businesses in Bangladesh, you suggested us many things in course of different discussions in the last few months. We take note of all of your suggestions, and in the training program that we have, we try to include everything. So we do believe your requested changes or in approach and professionalism and everything with our women-owned businesses, you'll see a developed picture right now. But then again, we'll request your feedback. If you find anything else to be included, that will be also welcome. So that will help us all together. So with that, I'd like to thank you all again and close it for the day. Thank you very much. So thanks to Varani, thanks to Ray and Michael, particularly for your precious time. And definitely thanks to all our corporate friends for all of your time. Thank you very much. You all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a nice day.